the last 30 hours or so, we've actually seen 2 updates to Black Ops 4. One being the actual 1.15 update, and one being our standard Tuesday refresh that we end up seeing every single week. And this one brought along with it some stuff for Xbox One and PC, but we're gonna break down everything that changed out of both of these updates here in this video, combining 2 into 1, and letting you guys know everything you need to know about Black Ops 4 update 1.15, plus today's Tuesday update. So that said, let's just jump right into it. Let's start out with the 1.15 update, because this was one that really caught a lot of people off guard, myself included, because I could not see Treyarch passing up the opportunity to launch a zombies map with update 1.15. If you guys are at all connected with the zombies lore, you know element 115 is that key integral part from the very beginning, so it would only make sense for them to drop the upcoming Ancient Evil map on 1.15, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like it was the case. There seems like there were some pressing glitches and bugs that needed to be fixed out, so that marketing tie unfortunately got pushed to the wayside. As of that update, it was only 150 megabytes depending on the platform that you're on, so it's a very small and minor update in terms of what it would take to download. If you're on PlayStation 4 though, I'm sure you've already experienced the 5-second download and 40 minutes of copying, because PlayStation 4's hardware is clearly the best. But with this, we ended up getting a very minor update in terms of what was changed. No content was actually a part of this update, but again, just fixing out those bug fixes. The biggest one being that it fixed the increased friendly player collision boundaries in MP. You probably have seen those clips on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you cruise around for your content for Call of Duty, in which you'd see players being drastically bounced off, sometimes even off the map entirely, by running into a player. That was something that was a bug caused by the 1.14 update that increased those boundaries for player collision, and I would imagine actually increased the pushback that it gave as well. So it created some funny clips here and there, but it was absolutely one of the most frustrating parts of the gameplay out of the past week. Now, on top of that, it added some stability fixes in MP and zombies. It fixed the crash that would occur when switching between modes in the main menu. It also improved Outrider's Hawk functionality and a couple of smaller things again there. But that was the 1.15 update, probably not what a lot of players expected, and again, if you jumped on and got that randomly, you probably had no idea it was included, and with it being so small, there really wasn't much added in. But as for today's update, that's where we start to see a little bit more in terms of catching up with PlayStation 4 for Xbox One and PC, and also on the lead off on the PlayStation 4 front, there's a few things in terms of customization and shop items that were added in as well, plus on top of that, a little more technical fixes around the board. So we'll talk about all that here. Firstly, let's start out with the big one. Obviously, Xbox One and PC finally now getting access to Shamrock and Awe. That's something that if you have Xbox One or PlayStation 4, I actually got it a little bit wrong in yesterday's things to look out for. I had no way to really check it at the time of recording that, but I mentioned that Contraband Hurricane was coming today, but apparently that was actually added in as of last week as well, so my apologies there on that one. But along with this, Xbox One and PC players end up having St. Patrick's Day Stockpile, Hardcore Blackout, Helcatraz for the Gauntlet and Zombies, as well as a couple of things in Blackout as well on top of all of that, where you have the Homunculus Leprechaun, the Pot of Gold Stashes, the Rainbow Mystery Box Easter Egg, which if you can pull that off is absolutely insane for the loot that drops. It has, I think, like 4 level 3 armors, a bunch of trauma kits, a bunch of different tactical weapons, a few operator mods, some concussions, some perks, a lot of ammo, and I think even some paint cans, but it's crazy how much actually is in there. But that's something that Xbox One and PC users now can jump on and experience this all for themselves. No longer are they waiting for PlayStation 4 to playtest this in a sense, but that's going to be live for 2 weeks for you guys. You can jump in and check it out as you wish. As for the lead-off side, where we now have PlayStation 4 taking the reins, this is stuff we'll see elsewhere on Xbox One and PC. A week later, you firstly see that you have a brand new main menu. The only thing that's different here is that there's a brand new icon for Stockpile, and you might notice that the name has actually changed as well. Because jumping into the playlist changes here, Stockpile is no longer Shamrock and Awe themed for PlayStation 4. It's not St. Patrick's Day Stockpile, it's just Stockpile, which is actually an accurate look of what it will look like as a returning LTM coming back and forth every so often throughout the game in Black Ops 4. It plays exactly the same, still the same objective, still the same score limit, everything that goes along with it. It's just not thematically changed, where the tags are actually now kill confirmed tags. You end up having a different icon in that bottom right of your HUD where it shows how many you're carrying, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, it's still exactly the same, just slightly visibly a little bit different. So it might throw you off a little bit at first glance, but you'll probably get used to it very, very fast. Outside of that, we end up seeing we have a couple of different playlists added in as well. We have Hardcore Mosh Pit being another featured playlist in which that offers TDM, kill confirmed, domination in those hardcore modes. So if you want to jump in and play any number of those combinations, of course you still have your standard regular modes in the hardcore tab, but you might get a little bit more populated lobbies in this simply because it's on that featured tab. You'd probably be surprised how many casual players don't really navigate those menus by just simply hitting the right and left bumper. They'll just go to whatever's in that featured tab and check that out. Outside of that, we end up seeing that one of the chambers again prominently displayed once again, and that's back for another week as well. We also then have the Mercenary Objective Mosh Pit, which is a combination of hardpoint, domination, control, search and destroy, heist, and safeguard all in one lobby pool. So you're going to be able to jump into a lot of different games here of this, and it might be a good way to test out some of the game modes you don't really play all that much if you want to. But again, totally up to you. You still have those regular and standard ones outside of that in the regular core and hardcore game modes for some. And then domination is the final featured playlist here with this, nothing special with it. I would imagine that we end up seeing bare bones or another larger LTM added in as of next week, the 26th. And that's just simply for the reason that the now theorized 1.16 update is going to add in a lot for Blackout as well as zombies. Ancient Evil is going to be coming for zombies, and then we'd end up seeing that maybe Contraband stream for MP. But if I were to guess, if we're going big on a new map for zombies and a new POI and lighting change for Blackout, I'd imagine we'd end up seeing some sort of bigger limited time mode in MP as well. So my guess is that Bare Bones is coming as of next Tuesday. Outside of that, we ended up getting a few things in terms of the shop content because we now have more things added in for that weekly rotation. Plus, we ended up getting a brand new bundle with a Blackout character, an MK2 weapon, and then also few tiers as well. But talking about that bundle, for 1100 COD points, you can end up getting actually the replacer in Blackout. He's now finally here. We talked about this actually as of yesterday, in which this was something to look out for because we saw this actually in the game files. It ended up glitching into some people's main menus and so on and so forth. It's not the only Blackout character that did, but we now have the ability to get the replacer for this, in which you can use him in Blackout. I think this is going to be another limited time thing where I think it lasts only 2 weeks on this. I could be wrong. I've seen conflicting screenshots, and that's actually something you might notice as well, is that you may have initially seen some screenshots of it being 2400 COD points instead of 1100, and that's something that was 2400 but was changed because of the changes to the content actually in it. Initially, it seemed like it launched for some players with 10 bundle crates in, which as a result of it being even more than just 5 tiers and even more reserve items, it kind of jacked the price up a bit, but it seems like it was universally lower to 1100 now, where you get the same things across the board. But on top of the replacer, you end up also getting the Swordfish MK2 signature weapon, which offers 25% bonus XP per kill with that weapon. So even if you don't necessarily use the Swordfish all that much, it is a primary that actually does well, so maybe consider it. I know that I got it because, one, I love the replacer, two, I do use the Swordfish from time to time, and I do think this actually looks great. I actually think it might be one of the better looking signature weapon variants. Kind of reminds me of the MK2 for the SWAT, and that sort of matte but also metallic feel for the weapon skin. But one interesting part is that when you examine it, it actually has on the stock what seems like 32 different occupations and jobs just casually chilling out. Not gonna list them all off for you guys. I'll put them up on screen for you if you wanna see that. But there's some funny ones in there, including having the talk, and others like visiting Nana and making sandwiches. So it seems like this is just tying into the replacer's jobs, some things that we've seen also before in some of the older trailers. I know that the visiting Nana was actually one back in Black Ops 2, I think. And now that I think about it a little bit further, I'm pretty sure that even the having the talk one was one that he filled in on as well. But it seems like it ties into the theme of the replacer doing jobs that people don't necessarily want to do. And then of course, finally, that final thing you get with that is the 5 tiers, which just progresses your contraband stream 5 more places. So if you're in the still 100 tiers, you'll end up making 5 more tiers of progress, or you'll get 5 reserves depending on if you're after it or not. Outside of that, the other shop items come down to the Carbalicious camo, which is 300 COD points and is usable on all weapons. It's an interesting little one, again, that comes down to just personal preference. I think that this, as well as the Mark II weapons, are the more so worthwhile weapons, and we'll talk about that in just a second a little further. The final thing added into the shop was the Escape Ruin outfit for 800 COD points. I'm not personally a Ruin main, and I hardly use Ruin at all, so I can't really say that I'm too invested in this one. I'm not going to really pick it up, I don't think. But coming back to that previous thought, the only thing that I want to mention here in the final note for the shop items as well is, why aren't these things in tiers? Like I mentioned, I'm not really going to pick up the Ruin outfit because I don't really play Ruin, but I mean, Put that into the tiers, and that's one less sticker that we need. If you take a look at it, we have 75 of 100 tiers being stickers, calling cards, or a reticle. And out of that 100 items, and of the 25 that remain, only 7 of those items in the contraband stream are viewable in a first-person perspective. And last time I checked, Black Ops 4 is not a third-person game. It's not something you can view those outfits in their entirety, so the only things worthwhile are those camos, those signature weapons, and other things alike. So can we please have some of these added in for the next season? Give us like maybe 5 to 10 signature weapons, add in a dozen more camos, make it at least a little worthwhile, man. Like, people grinding out the tiers don't want to get stickers. They want something actually worth their hour per tier of in-game grinding. We see all this cool kind of stuff, and sure, I'm probably oblivious to the actual time it takes to design this kind of stuff, but I can't imagine a camo takes as long in development as, say, a full-blown map. So with each operation, you'd think that we'd end up seeing at least a couple of more things that are viewable in a first-person perspective than are worthwhile as well. But that said, the rest of the things here in terms of what changed today were a few technical aspects and a couple on the PC front that doesn't really bother a lot of players here on PS4 or Xbox One. But we ended up seeing, firstly, globally, feeder mode being fixed because the play and pause functionality was broken as of the 1.14 update last week, which proved to just be a massive pain. It wasn't really anything that if you wanted to go in and just record a simple clip, you didn't really lose that ability, but it was something if you had to go back and check something, that's where it got a little bit annoying. Because the only way to pause the footage was to open the menu, and then the only way to restart it at that point was to simply start from the beginning on the menu. You couldn't just pick up where you left off to start the play again. You had to actually start it from the very beginning. So thankfully that's now fixed out. It should be all well and dandy at this point. And then outside of that, the other things were on the PC front, in which the deathmatch mosh pit was now split into TDM and kill confirmed on PC. A lot of people on the PC side, even though it seems like that number is dwindling daily, was letting Treyarch know that that wasn't the best thing to combine those two. They were previously one playlist, and players wanted to play their own separate TDM and kill confirmed game mode. It wasn't like the lesser populated game modes of maybe say Heist or Safeguard, but instead it was a combination that the player base over on PC wasn't too fond of. So that was resplit, and those two now exist as their own playlists once again. And the final thing is that Blackout's auto start fill for PC decreased to 80 players as compared to the previous 100 that it would require to start up a match on PC, which is honestly a bummer and showcases the decline of Black Ops 4 on PC, but unfortunately, that's the sad reality of it. It needs less players to start up a match, and I don't know, man, it just kind of makes me sad because Black Ops 4 seemed to have so much promise on PC pre-launch, but I don't know, things just didn't work out. So I feel for my PC friends out there, but that's going to wrap up everything that changed here today as of the update for today, but also yesterday's 1.15 update as well. So want to let you guys know about everything that changed to keep you guys in the loop. So feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular you're a fan of, maybe not too fond of, whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered with the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, that's it, out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.